Jaguar Wright has spoken out about 50 Cent's viral Diddy documentary, and her comments are shocking. She says that what 50 Cent showed on Netflix is just the tip of the iceberg. According to her, many tapes, eyewitness accounts, and real incidents involving Diddy, and even the wider music industry, were deliberately left out because Netflix wasn't willing to show the full story.
Problem with it, it was done too well. It left out too many things.
So can you speak on Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent said that this is the first one.
I'm
He said
sure.
that there's
I'm
hundreds
sure.
of hours of more footage.
I'm sure there was hundreds of hours of shit that was confiscated from all of Diddy's homes in that HSI raid that never made it to the trial. I wonder where it made it to.
Jaguar Wright recently gave an interview revealing everything that was left out of 50 Cent's documentary. After watching it, she reached out to Gene Deal, the only person who actually spent time with Diddy and whose perspective really mattered. Gene, Diddy's former bodyguard, witnessed the violence, intimidation, cover-ups, and the people who got protected along the way. So when Jaguar noticed that Gene wasn't even mentioned in a documentary called The Reckoning, she knew something didn't add up. She spoke with him, and that's when the full truth came to light.
Would you call the documentary educational, informational, entertaining? What would you say this documentary?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
And it's sad because there's a lot of stuff in there that's true. But there's enough.
Jaguar Wright also points out that the timing of the documentary's release felt suspicious. It focused mostly on old stories, not real revelations. According to her, it wasn't about uncovering the truth, it was meant to distract people. That's why it relied so much on recycled footage, familiar stories, and incidents the industry had already quietly accepted. The goal wasn't to reveal secrets, it was to steer the conversation.
It isn't over, I agree. Like, that's the thing. The story's not even being told. Because in order to tell the actual whole story, you would have to include everyone that is involved. But no, this is about saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Okay, Diddy's going to jail. He's going to do his time. I don't know what that appeal is looking like right now. Because see, the one thing that all of this documentary shit is doing is definitely fucking up his possibility for an appeal to get out early. Especially with the judge and them and the appeal board having to look at the footage of him sitting there with Mark Agnifilo, pretty much working on how to fix the trial.
And for him to be watching the feds watching him.
Yeah, filming the feds.
Jaguar Wright says Diddy was made the scapegoat. The industry needed someone to take the fall, and he was the perfect target. For example, CNN had footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie for over 10 years before it was ever released. So why did the FBI only start investigating after the statute of limitations had passed? The documentary never addressed this, and it completely ignored the biggest question. If Diddy was under investigation for racketeering, where were all his co-conspirators?
They did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it, blame it all on Diddy, and the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip hop, and all of hip hop is uncomfortable with this. Meanwhile, you got people like Ja Rule who, on the low key, allegedly, Gene Deal has exposed for having his own nude tryst freak offs with Diddy.
in that courtroom.
Do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Not all. Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think
the documentary's biggest draw was its unreleased footage, stuff 50 Cent somehow got hold of. But here's the catch. When the documentary was first announced, he didn't even have access to that material. How then did 50 know what was going to happen to Diddy before it even happened?
He announced he was going to be doing the documentary December 2023 with Netflix. And the star footage that you use to get people to re-upload or resubscribe to Netflix to make this the #1 in their TV shows division for almost 2 weeks straight. Beating out Stranger Things. How much stranger is that?
I'm not Becky.
This footage didn't even exist when you said you were going to be doing this documentary. So we've got a videographer, a rogue videographer that has this very, very, very explosive, very explosive footage of him literally sitting on camera, planning how to go after survivors, how to poison the jury pool, how to fix his trial in advance before he's even arrested. I mean, like, is anybody not forgetting when Mark Garrett, when Mark Agnifilo was sitting there talking to the sons in the hallway, and they're sitting there filming, and he's sitting up there. Yeah, well, see, what we got to do is we got to go and we got to put countersuits on all of these people. We have to create lawsuits ourselves. He's sitting there talking about creating lawsuits to affect public perception.
Gene Deal actually refused to take part in the documentary once he realized 50 Cent didn't have real control. Gene had all the proof, but after a 45-minute conversation with 50, he saw the truth. 50 wasn't deciding what footage made it in, who got paid, or which stories could even be shown. Those choices were being made by Netflix and the producers. Once Gene understood that, he walked away.
Going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story, and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound. I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're going to pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another. And I was like, all right, well, then, F you. I spoke to 50, and then she said, 50? And this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and goes out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if the 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. You know, some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places and you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're gonna get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bro, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more.
Gene agreed with everything Jaguar said. He also had real physical proof, not just stories. This included videos, photos, documents, and other evidence he'd collected over the years. He shared it with the production team, but when he tried to negotiate payment for his time and materials, they ignored him. According to Gene, they weren't interested in the truth. They just wanted someone to fill time and keep the audience entertained.